Hello, fellow gardeners. Joe Lample here. Let me tell you about a quirky experiment I tried with an old bag of uncooked white rice I found in my pantry. Instead of tossing it, I wondered, what if I buried it in my garden bed? I'm always looking for new ways to boost my soil, so I decided to give it a shot. I picked a small empty patch, dug a few holes, and sprinkled in the rice, covered it up, watered, and marked the spot. It felt odd, like planting a secret, but gardening is all about curiosity and trying new things. Sometimes you get a win, sometimes a lesson. I wanted to see if the rice would just vanish or actually help my soil and plants. So, I started this little experiment, and I'm excited to share what happened. We'll dig into the science, the surprises, and what you can learn from my rice adventure. If you love getting your hands dirty and asking what if in your garden, this story is for you. Let's see what happens when you bury a handful of rice and a whole lot of curiosity. Maybe we'll discover a new trick for our gardening toolbox. Sometimes, the best ideas start with a simple question. Ready to find out what happened next? Let's get started. It all began with a handful of rice and a gardener's curiosity. So, what actually happens when you bury rice in your garden? The moment rice hits moist soil, it starts to soften and swell. This attracts soil microbes, bacteria, and fungi, who see it as a feast. Think of rice as a concentrated packet of energy for these tiny organisms. As the grains absorb water, they create tiny air pockets, subtly improving soil aeration. Good aeration means healthier roots and better plant growth. The rice doesn't just sit there, it becomes part of the living ecosystem underground. Microbes break it down, starting a chain reaction that releases nutrients over time. Burying rice is like in-place composting, feeding the soil right where your plants need it. It's a simple act, but it sets off a complex process that benefits your garden. The rice energizes the microbial community, which in turn supports your plants. Even before it fully decomposes, rice is already making a difference. It's a quiet transformation, but one that can lead to healthier, more fertile soil, all from a handful of old rice you might have thrown away. The real action is happening out of sight, beneath the surface. That's the magic of soil life. Let's look closer at how this process unfolds. The story of rice in the soil is just getting started. Let's see what happens next. Once the rice is buried, decomposition begins. Bacteria and fungi, the soil's invisible workers, get to work breaking down the starches. They use special enzymes to turn rice into simple sugars, fueling their growth. This process depends on moisture and warmth. It's faster in damp, warm soil. As microbes consume the rice, they multiply and release nutrients plants can use. The rice isn't direct plant food. It's food for the microbes, who then feed your plants. Over weeks and months the rice disappears, transformed into humus. Humus is that dark, rich material every gardener loves. It holds water and nutrients. The result? Improved soil structure, better moisture retention, and a healthier root zone. This slow transformation is the foundation of fertile soil. By feeding the soil food web, you're investing in your garden's long-term health. The rice you buried becomes part of a natural recycling system. It's a small act with big lasting benefits. The magic is in the process, not just the result. Decomposition is nature's way of building better soil. All you have to do is start it, and let the microbes do the rest. That's the beauty of working with nature. Let's see how these microbes make your soil come alive. The story continues underground. Let's talk about the real heroes, soil microbes. When you bury rice, you're giving bacteria and fungi a direct energy boost. Their populations explode as they feast, making your soil more fertile. These microbes break down organic matter and unlock nutrients for your plants. Some fungi even form partnerships with roots, helping plants find more water and minerals. As microbes work, they release sticky substances that bind soil particles, improving structure. This means better water retention and easier root growth. In my experiment, the soil where I buried rice became darker, crumbly, and smelled wonderfully earthy. That's living soil, full of life and ready to support healthy plants. Feeding microbes is the secret to a thriving garden. It's not just about the plants, it's about the whole underground ecosystem. A little rice can jumpstart that process. The results speak for themselves. Healthy soil starts with feeding its smallest residents. Of course, there are some risks to burying rice. Pests like rodents and insects may dig up your rice stash, causing damage. Larger animals, like squirrels or raccoons, might join the party if they catch the scent. Too much rice in one spot, especially in wet soil, can lead to mold and foul smells. This happens when decomposition goes anaerobic, creating unhealthy soil conditions. There's also a risk of temporary nitrogen lockup, which can cause yellowing leaves. The key: use rice sparingly, bury it deep, and avoid clumping. Good drainage and moderation are your best friends. Start small and keep rice away from young seedlings. With a little care, you can avoid most problems. Smart technique makes all the difference. Want to try this yourself? Here's how to do it right. Pick a fallow bed or a spot between mature plants. Avoid delicate seedlings. Use a small amount, about 1 cup of rice per 10 square feet. Dig a trench or holes 6 to 8 inches deep to deter pests. Sprinkle a thin layer of rice. Don't dump in a big clump. Cover with 4 to 6 inches of soil and pat it down. Water the area well to kickstart decomposition. Mark the spot so you can check back later. Be patient. This is a slow-release amendment, not a quick fix. Over weeks and months, observe changes in soil color, texture, and smell. The real magic happens beneath the surface. Less is more. Don't overdo it. This is a simple, low-cost way to boost your soil's health. Let nature do the heavy lifting. Try it in a container or test plot if you're unsure. Watch, learn, and enjoy the process. Gardening is all about experimenting and discovering what works for you. Let me share a quick story. The first time I tried this, I used way too much rice, and a squirrel dug it up for a snack. Lesson learned: subtlety matters. The next season, I used less rice, buried it in a trench, and waited a month before planting tomatoes. No pests, and the soil felt richer and looser. My tomatoes thrived that year. Was it all because of the rice? Maybe not, but it definitely helped the soil. Amending soil is part art, part science. The rice is just one ingredient. The real magic is in how you use it. Like cooking, balance is key. Too much of anything can throw things off. Start small, observe, and adjust for your own garden. Old pasta, flour, or oatmeal can work too. Just bury them deep and use moderation. Every garden is different, so experiment and see what works for you. The best lessons come from trying new things. So, is burying uncooked rice worth it? Absolutely, if you use it wisely. It's not a miracle cure, but it's a great way to recycle pantry leftovers and build soil health. The main benefits: feeding microbes, improving structure, and boosting long-term fertility. The soil becomes richer, darker, and more alive. Just remember the risks: pests, mold, and nitrogen lockup. Use small amounts, bury it deep, and avoid clumps. Try it in a resting bed first. It's a simple, sustainable practice that fits any organic garden. Start with a test plot and observe the results. You might be surprised by the quiet changes happening underground. Sometimes the smallest experiments yield the biggest rewards. Give it a try and see for yourself. I hope this rice experiment has sparked your curiosity. Gardening is about learning, experimenting, and connecting with the living world beneath our feet. Every handful of organic matter you add helps build a healthier garden. Don't be afraid to try new things. Your garden is your laboratory. Pay attention, take notes, and enjoy the process. Share your own experiments and discoveries. They help us all grow as gardeners. If you enjoyed this story, keep learning with me. Check out my podcast and website for more soil science, composting tips, and expert interviews. Subscribe to the Joe Gardener R newsletter for weekly inspiration. Share this with a friend and help grow our gardening community. Thanks for joining me today. Now, let's get out there and get our hands dirty. Happy gardening.